what a win we had tonight on the road here at Arkansas State. I will say that we did what we do. We more than doubled their rebounds. They did what they do. They forced us into 30 turnovers, but we weathered the storm. From my understanding, it's the first time they've been beat by a Sunbelt team on their court in 2 years. So many teams have come in here, gotten a lead, and the second half, what I call their second half surge, they come back and force so many turnovers and wear you down that they've been able to come back and beat everyone that's played on this court for 2 years. We're the first ones that were able to weather that storm. I appreciate the coaches for the game plan. I appreciate our bench because they came on and we were able to rest our starters enough to fight against that second half surge. And definitely I have to, just say I appreciate the starters because the pushback was real. They would not let them ever take the lead.
And Coach, you kind of touched on it. You guys had double-digit advantage through most of the first half. It felt like, this was just our game. And then, like you talked about that surge, talk about what the message was like in the locker room and how you as a coach, knowing it's coming, was able to kind of adjust to that.
Yeah. So it had been so fast, just fast. And we were just pleading with them that the way we break the press, we use a post player to break the press. Once we got the post to slow down and read it, not just keep going so fast. And it worked sometimes, and other times they just kept flying through it. But we knew if we could slow the game down a little bit in that respect, the less chance they would have of winning because they had to depend on turnovers. They did get hot. They started making their threes in the second half, which is a little disturbing. That's another way that they come back in the second half. They usually up their percentage from the three-point line, and they did what they do. They did that. But again, the defense that our team played was not perfect, but it was a great effort, and overall did a great job.
And Coach, you kind of touched on it about how they did what they did. We know that they shoot the three ball, but you limit them to just 4 in this game, 4 makes. Talk about just how you guys were kind of able to do that. And then on the inside, you mentioned it in the locker room, 0 second chance points. Were those really the keys to the game, or what's your thoughts on that?
Because Coach Graff's a scout, and even though they're great three-point shooters and they sometimes shoot 50 in a game, they're also very good at driving. And so Coach Graff made a decision to take away the drive first, but have no help. So we try not to help too much to stay out on three-point shooters, kind of do both. And it seemed to work. But it did get close in the second half. They made 3 of those threes and got them going. 3 of the threes, and I think they had a turnover or 2 in between each one of those on us. So they did get some momentum. It's hard when you're out there playing and you're kind of tired to keep positive in those moments, but the team really did.
And Coach, big-time players show up in big-time moments, and tonight it felt like Fortuna, Zay, Ashley, Amani, just the names that we hear normally had those moments. But then there was players like Kamisha and Shake Shack that had moments. Just talk about that.
There's no way we could have won without those players coming off the bench because, like I say, they gave us enough of a rest to withstand the second half surge, and while they're in there, they really contributed. Maybe not so much in points, but in many, many ways, they really contributed. As far as the starters, I don't think people realize what a job it was for Tutu and Zay to have another double-double tonight because it was obviously a big part of their game plan to keep the ball out of their hands, or when they got it, swarm them and really block them out really hard. You could tell that was the top of their game plan probably, and they weathered it, and they still got their double-doubles and helped their team win.
And Coach, you kind of touched on it with Zay. She went to the free throw line, missed both, and then maybe Zay last year would have had that stay in her head and it would have continued, but she had that other chance, hit both of them at a critical point. And you touched on it, 21 double-doubles this year, leads the nation. She just got Player of the Week. What was it like to kind of see that growth in her character overall and just her playing ability?
3 things I was really happy to see about Zay this week. Number 1, she got Player of the Week finally. It's been all year. She's had 25 points, 20 rebounds, 25 points, whatever. Still, this is her first time to get Player of the Week, so I was happy to see that. Number 2, I was really proud to see how she did come back after she missed those 2 free throws and came back calm, cool, and collected, did what she needed to do to make the next 2. And then 3rd, I'm really proud of her and all of the team for the win.
And Coach, before we got on the bus, phase 1, phase 2, and there was phases to this. You said it was a battle. You won the battle, and you get to live out what you kind of set up before we left on that bus trip. What does that mean to you to be able to see the mission completed with a success?
So yeah, before we left on the bus, I don't know if people follow us on social media, but we were on a mission. And I got some guidance from my son who's Navy Special Warfare, kind of broke down how they go on a mission, how they make sure they have 100% success, and we followed those steps. everything from visualizations, everything that everybody's responsible for morale, all the steps we went through. And yeah, I'm proud to see that too. Proud to see that they followed it on a mission and we won our mission.
Final question, one more. We knew what this game meant for the regular season title. Now you guys get to go, and 3 years ago you had a similar opportunity. What are you going to do this time to prepare your team Friday to make sure you guys at least get a share of that regular season title?
Well, the main thing I'm concerned about right now is body rest, because we're going to drive 8 hours home on the bus tomorrow, get off, get the scout report. In 12 hours, we'll get back on the bus to go to the south. So that's not a lot of time off of a bus, but we're going to make it work. And the one thing we're not going to do, we're not going to overlook anybody. South Alabama outscored us in the fourth quarter of our game last time, and that's too close to even play around with when it comes to a championship. So we're going to get the scout. We're going to take it seriously. We're going to go give it our best. We hope some Trojans will put this on their calendar for Friday. It's not a far drive. Come over to South Alabama. Help us get this championship.